Hey everyone, it's Liam C. on Marvel Contest of Champions, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who has given me so much support uh, after my most recent two videos. Uh, Over the past 2 days, I have literally over doubled the amount of subscribers I have. This is amazing, especially for a newer YouTuber. And for all you new subscribers who haven't looked at my previous videos, I'm going to take the time to use this video to give you a showcase of who I am and how I got to be in the position I am in Contest of Champions. Now, unlike some YouTubers who have been around since well before... oh, that's nothing. Unlike other YouTubers who have started the game with their channels, I jumped into this a little late. I decided to join YouTube mainly as an aspect to help a buddy with his Alliance War defense, and I decided, well, if one guy needs help, then maybe other guys need help. So I put out a video on Alliance War defense, and it has snowballed since then, but I haven't really given an accurate representation of how I got into the position I am today. So for starters, let me just start off by saying I'm Canadian. So right off the bat, that means I had a little different start in the game than most other people, because the studio that released Contest of Champions is based in Vancouver. So Canada was the site of the soft release, meaning how I started in the game was I actually started the month before the game came out in the soft release. My brother actually is the one who got me into the game, and back then the game was a lot different. There were no 3 stars or 4 stars unless you bought them with regards to the crystals. And most people only had their 4-star champions through the premiums and very much in the way of luck. So I'm one of the granddaddies of this game. I've shown in previous videos I have my Season Summoner tag, which proves that I've been here since the hard release, which was in December. But back then, it was interesting. It was before alliances were even introduced. Alliances were introduced around the January following, or January-February era, right after the game's release. So they weren't around for the people who started the game immediately. My first alliance was actually just a random alliance. I joined it from the beginning. And it was the A-Team, tag AAA, so it was just at the top of the Alliance list. I'm just going to say this right now. Anyone who's starting off now in the game or recently in the game has it much easier than someone starting off when I did. And I'm not saying to be demeaning or anything. I'm just saying how much the game has evolved and how much I love how it's moving towards inclusivity for all players and moving them up to that level. Anyway, back on track of my history. The reason I left that alliance was because the leader was offline for about a week and just decided to move on. And that's when I found another member. I'm just going to keep his name secret because some stuff fell out later on. But let's just call him Nando for now. That's not his in-game name. Don't look him up. Nando brought me into an alliance that had started the day before, called Dark Brotherhood Abyss. And I stayed with those guys for a long time. And partway through while I was with Dark Brotherhood was when they introduced the new idea of duplicating champions. And immediately after they announced the duplication of champions, giving you a 2-star Punisher for you to demonstrate on yourself, I opened a premium and duplicated my 3-star Iron Man. And that doesn't sound like much nowadays. But back then, when duplicates were a new thing, and there was not a list of every character's unique signature abilities, it was so exciting to realize and unlock special abilities with champions. And I treasured that 3-star Iron Man for a long time, and I still have it. He's maxed out. And I was one of the first ones in Brotherhood to have that max. And like I said about the 4 stars earlier, you didn't get all the special deals or anything. Before the duplicate thing, you just got the ISO. And even after duplicates came out, you didn't get shards. Shards are a much later development, I will say that. Alright, let's just do this. But yeah, I didn't even get my first 4-star until June, after I started playing in November. But at the same time, it was so exciting and so rewarding to finally get that first 4-star. And that first 4-star I got was a Juggernaut. And then later that week, I got an Electro and a Star-Lord. Later that summer, I duped my first champion. And that was again my Juggernaut. And unlocking one of those special signature abilities for a 4-star. Again, and at that time, Juggernaut had his Unstoppable, and it was the coolest ability. One of my favorite things with that Juggernaut was to fight other Juggernauts that were also duped. Just for shits and giggles, to watch them hit each other and not bounce back. Those were much simpler times. Back then, newer players might not remember this, but there was you know the Mastery Willpower? It was a lot stronger than it is now. You might hear of the Great Willpower nerf. That was the nerf before this one of the 12.0 patch. Willpower was such a good mastery. You know how for every different item that you have a debuff on you, you get regen? Before the nerf, it was every effect, which means if you had a stack of 5 bleeds, you were willpowering 5 times. That's how powerful it was. You couldn't go against a war machine and lose with this mastery. Every bullet that would hit you, you'd be gaining health. It was crazy, and it was mayhem. Eventually the willpower nerf happened, but not before I completed Act 4 with all the crazy nerfs on it. But I didn't 100%, I just completed. Let's see, where's... Anyway, it was about this time that there was a falling out, or it might have been slightly before. There was a falling out within Brotherhood between the leader and we'll go back to referring to Nando. So these two guys had a falling out, and basically Nando broke off to found, actually, Be the Revolution, which is the alliance I'm currently with now. It was also at this time that I was feeling a little disconnected with the game. I was having a hard time keeping up after the willpower nerf with Alliance Quest, which also wasn't an immediate development. I can't remember when that came about, but I was having trouble keeping up with the rest of the Alliance. And because I was more educational, I taught a few guys how to fight. I was better at teaching than actual fighting because I understood the mechanics. What happened was an Alliance approached us with their leader stepping down. And I was offered the place of leader to go train these guys as a feeder alliance for Be the Revolution. And that alliance was Marvel Renegades. Now, with Marvel Renegades, I know exactly when I joined that, and that was the second day of the very first Moon Knight Arena, which was a little more than a year ago, back in October, I believe. A year ago from October, almost 2 years ago, year and a half, and I joined them. I was with them for about 6 months. And I trained these guys up, created a lot of trust with them. Eventually I went back to Revolution. And a lot of time passed, a lot of complacency happened, but at the same time a lot of growth. I grew as a fighter. I grew exponentially, actually. And shortly after I came back to Revolution, the new addition to Contest of Champions was released, and that was Alliance War. And that's where I really found my niche. I really found my niche with Alliance War because of my attention to detail with champions and their abilities. Not necessarily fighting skill, but understanding how champions act, how the AI works them, what abilities mesh with which. And I asked to be made an officer for 1 or 2 wars for the sake of setting the Alliance War defense in a way that made sense strategically. Instead of having people willy-nilly and then asking the officers, please place this one here, please place that one there. What if this happened here? Etc., 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 and just annoying the hell out of them. So originally I was just given 1 battle group, and that was the only battle group whose defense didn't fall in our first war. So afterwards, we were in our second war. This, again, I was back with Revolution at this point. I was given control over all 3 battle groups. And we won that war by a large margin. They barely cracked the middle. And since then, I've been in charge of our Alliance's war defense. And I'm proud of my ability to do that. Now, it was around this time where one of our officers ended up taking over leadership because Nando had real-life complications. We kept him on. He would come in and collect rewards, and we kept him there out of respect because he started the alliance that brought us all together. Eventually he came back, but he wasn't the same. Why didn't he shrink? Anyway, back to the story. He wasn't the same. Eventually he kind of snapped. And blamed me and one of our officers for insubordination and not believing in him, despite the fact that we just said he was in honorarium, like we had him there because we honored him. Anyway, it was a confusing scenario. And he, like he did with the first alliance, went off and started another alliance. I won't say the name because I want to keep this guy secret because he is a nice guy. I just don't want him out in public. And he took half of our alliance with us. So we were at about half our membership and really struggling with Alliance Quest. So, if we remember the Marvel Renegades that I had set up previously as a feeder alliance, you might also notice that I'm bringing this up because we did a merger with them. And they filled our roster with so many good people. The sense of community that this game has built is simply amazing. And as you've seen here, I'm not the best fighter. I don't claim to be a good fighter at all. But I still really appreciate everything that this game does. Anyway, those guys came over. And that basically brings us up to today. Not much has changed in except for patch 1.0 or 12.0. Actually, right after the merge was when I started this channel. Really, one of my friends that I was helping with his alliance with Alliance War Defense, he was one of the guys who went off because, well, he was being bullied by someone else, and that's another can of worms. Eventually, the member that broke off for the second time isolated this guy, and he started his own alliance, and all the guys went over there, so I have no idea what happened to, let's just call him Nando. Anyway, that brings us to where we are today, at patch 12.0. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but last night, today being the 3rd of March, last night being the 2nd of March, Adora posted an update on patch 12.0 and saying that they're going to reintroduce the patch. Now, there is something that does need to be addressed with this patch. I've addressed in my previous video, but looking over the patch notes that they're offering, what they're doing is altering the difficulty of Realm of Legends and Labyrinth of Legends, as well as relooking at the Doctor Strange nerf. Might be, in my opinion, they're going to be meeting at the middle there. Alright, I'm going to die here. Yeah, so we're going to be looking at the Doctor Strange nerf, probably meeting in the middle from where he was and where he is now, increasing the health he gets, probably. Relooking at the difficulty between in Realm of Legends and Labyrinth of Legends, because apparently that has increased exponentially because of the patch in the Challenger rating, which is still not being addressed. And they're also addressing the parry issue, in which parry is being affected by the Challenger rating. Yeah, so there is a little bit of stuff going on here. The Challenger rating is still the biggest problem of patch 12.0. It is the shit in the shit sandwich. So if you guys don't mind, please spam that in the forums for me. I'm saying it everywhere I go. That's the main issue with the patch. Anyway, they're reintroducing the patch for the patch on Monday. So be mindful of that. That will be coming out. Other than that, thank you for taking the time to watch this video if you made it this far. Sorry for my rambling. I'm not the most coherent person all the time. And thank you guys for subscribing. I'm very, very moved to see so many people interested in my commentary, despite how rambly and incoordinated it is. Anyway, sorry for the length of this video. I just wanted you to get a sense of what you're getting into by being here with me on my channel. If you're wondering about me in real life, I'm Canadian, East Coast, I'll just say that much. I work as a security guard, and I own a photography company taking headshots for people looking to get into film school, because we have one of those here, at least one. And that's pretty lucrative. But in addition, I'm also in my last year of my degree. I won't say what degree, because of reasons. I want a separation between real life and the game, because this game is not my life. This channel is not my life, but I am here giving you a sense of who I am, who you're talking to, instead of just a talking person, because I'm a real person, just like you're a real person, and other YouTubers are real people. And that needs to be taken into consideration when looking at people's content and listening to people's commentary, that we are people. That being said, I'm just covering my base in case I'm wrong on anything in the future, or if I'm wrong on anything in the past. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe. I'm very happy with the amount of support I've been shown. People reaching out to me, it's felt really good. In addition, if you don't like my content, give me a like anyway. I like those likes, and leave a comment to tell me why you don't like me, or what I could be doing better, or give me ideas for future content. Well, that was BS. Sorry, just commenting on the Fist of Doom here. Alright, let's just gain that health back. And as long as I keep touching him... And that didn't work. Alright. Never mind. Yeah, I'm just going to lose this fight. I've already conceded that. Alright guys, if you like my video, I've already given you the spiel. And thank you for watching, and keep an eye out for future content.